Okay, now let's just implement follow and unfollow functionality. For this, I'll go inside the source, pages, and user page. So here we have a component called user header, and it's gonna be same for every user. It's because we just hard-coded this component. So let me just show you what I mean by this. So even if here we go to profile of John, we're gonna get the same user header, and if you go to the profile of Bob, we're gonna get the exact same data, and we want to change this and make it dynamic. So the way we're gonna do it is gonna be, we're gonna fetch the user here and then pass it inside user header component, and then here we're gonna get it via props, and then we'll just render it. So let's go ahead and implement this. So we said that we're gonna have a user, so let's just create our state. So it's gonna be use state, and initially it's gonna be null. So let's import the use state, and then here, since we're gonna fetch some data, we'll say use effect, and then so let's initialize it, and then so this use effect will run whenever the username changes. So we'll get this username from a hook called usePrems, and it's coming from React Router DOM. So I'll say const, and it's gonna be object. We're destructuring that, and we're just gonna say username. So this is username because here we said that it's gonna be username. If that was X, then here we will get it as X. Okay, so I'll just have a function const get user. It's gonna be async, and then here we'll have try and catch. In the catch case, for now, let's just say console log the error, but in the try, we'll actually try to fetch the user. So I'll say const res, it's going to be await, fetch, and then backticks. So slash API slash users slash profile, and then the username. So this is going to be a get request, so we don't need to pass anything else. We'll get the data, and for now let's just console log the data. And before we forget, let's call this function. Okay, so we created the function, and now we need to call it so that the code will be executed. So I'm gonna save this, and let's open up our console. So this is what we're getting from user page, and this is the profile of Bob. So let's go to profile of John, and we're gonna get the information of John. So perfect. Now we're gonna pass it into this user header. So I'll say user, it's gonna be user, and then if we have an error, so I'll just say if data.error, then we're just gonna show that. So I'll say show toast, but before we need to just import it. So const show toast function, it's going to be use show toast, and then here we're just going to say show toast. The title description is going to be data.error, and then the status, and we'll just return out of this function if we have an error. But in the other case, we'll just set our user with this data, and in the catch case, we're just gonna do the same thing. I'll copy this, and then here it's gonna be just the error itself. So now if we just save this, this is gonna work, but we have a warning that says this use effect missing a dependency, which is the show toast. If we just now put the show toast here like this, and if we just save this, we're gonna have an infinite loop. So we're gonna cause this infinite loop, and then our application will crash. And it is because inside this hook, this function is actually a function. So I mean, this variable is a function, and what that means is that a function is type of object, and on each render it's gonna be stored in a different slot in memory. So in order to solve this, we're gonna cache it. So we're gonna say use callback, and then wrap this function with the use callback. Then we're gonna just pass the toast inside. So now we just solved that infinite loop problem, and we're gonna save it here. Then now if we just save this, that should work perfectly, and now we're not gonna get any so to say, let's just refresh, we're not gonna get any errors. Okay, so what do we need to do? now is gonna be, so eventually we could say if there is not user, then just return null. So let's go ahead into the profile of someone that does not exist. Okay, we got this user not found toast, and we are seeing that twice. It is because inside the main JSX we have this React strict mode, and in the development mode it's gonna re-render every component twice. So if we just, now let's just comment this out, and we're only gonna see that toast once. So as you can see, it only shows once. So that's just a cool tip that you need to keep in mind. I'll just comment it out. I'll just say React. I'll just copy it. Oops. Okay. React strict mode renders every component twice on development. Okay. On the production, it's just gonna be normal, so it'll only render every component once. Okay, so now inside the user page, we're gonna go inside the user header. We're gonna now take this user, and then now we'll just with this user data, so here let me just go to the profile of John. So with this data that we get, now we're gonna render all these, so full name, username, bio, and then the profile picture, and also the number of followers. So here we're gonna say this is gonna be user.name, and now I'm just gonna copy this. Okay, here I'll just paste it. It's gonna be user.username, and then here we're gonna have it as user.bio, right? So user.bio, and then here we'll say user.followers.length because it's an array. And with this we need to also handle the avatar, so I'm just gonna cut it for a second. Now I'll just say if user.profile picture, okay, if user has a profile picture, then we're gonna render this where the name is gonna be user.name, and the avatar, I mean the source, is gonna be user.profile pic. And then below this I'll copy this and paste it again. If user doesn't have a profile picture, then our source is gonna be this hard-coded value, so we can just say https and broken link. Now I'll just save this. In here it should update, but we have an error, so let's see, user.followers, and we had a typo there. Okay, so this is the avatar of John Doe, the username, full name, and bio. So let's take a look at the Bob. As you can see, it just updates depending on the username. So now let's add a button here, which is going to be follow and unfollow button, and we are going to also have the update profile if you are looking to our profile. So for this we need to get a, so let me just type, so we'll get the current user, and it's going to be the user that logged in. So recoil value, so user Adam, we're going to pass it. Okay, so this is, I mean, like, so this, let me just type, this is the user that logged in, or we could just say, I mean, oops, so this is the logged in user, and this is the user that we are looking to their profile. After this bio, we're gonna say if current user underscore id is equal to user.id, which means that we are looking to our own profile. So we're gonna have a link that is gonna have a button inside, okay, and we're gonna import this, so size will be small, and it's just gonna say update profile, and this link should take us to the to the update page. But this link is coming from Chakra UI, right? So the way to solve this, like if you have it like this, let's just try. Now we are looking to our own profile. When I click to that, it's gonna refresh. Just take a look at here. As you can see, it is not doing the client-side routing. So for this, we are gonna import a link from React Author DOM. So I'll say import link has router link, so you could rename it however you want, from React Router DOM. And then we'll just say this link should be as router link, right? And then we'll just say 2, because in the link from React Router DOM you have this 2 property. And now I'll just refresh this page. When I click to that, it's not gonna have that reload effect, it's gonna do client-side routing. Okay, now if we go to the profile of another user, we'll see the so done though. We're gonna see this, so we didn't see, okay, because we didn't add. So I'll just copy here, paste it, and if the current user ID is not equal to the user ID, we're gonna have a button that is gonna say, for now, follow, okay, only follow. Now we are looking the profile of John and we're seeing follow button, and now let's just check if we are following this user or not. So here we'll just say const following and set following. It's gonna be useState, and the initial value is gonna be user dot followers includes, okay, the current user, so the ID of the current user. And let's import the useState, and let's console.log following, and then here we're just gonna say, instead of follow text, we'll just say if it is following, then show okay, if following, then we're just gonna say unfollow, and if you are not following, then we're gonna show the follow text. So I can save this and let's take a look. Now we are not following, right? It is false, and we see this button. So now let's add the functionality to be able to follow. Here this button will have on click, where we'll just call the handle follow function. So handle follow and unfollow actually, right? Because when we click to that, it's either gonna follow or unfollow. So here I'll just create my function. It's gonna be async arrow function, and then we're gonna have try catch. So what we can do here, I'll just copy this line and then paste it. Also I'll copy here, then delete this, paste it, and import the use show toast hook. Okay, and inside the try, we're gonna send our fetch request. So const res await fetch backticks slash API slash users slash follow, and then we're gonna pass the user ID, and this is gonna be a post request. So we're gonna have an object, method is gonna be host, not put, and then we're gonna have the headers as application JSON. Okay, just like this. And then let's say const data, const data res.json, and then so let's console.log the data, but before that let's check if we have any errors. So if data.error, we'll just say show toast the error and return out of this function. So now let's go here, and if we don't have error, okay, let's first just check what are we gonna get in the console. I'll just refresh this page, and now if I try to send this follow request, it's gonna say user followed successfully, and now I'm gonna click it again. Okay, it's gonna say user unfollowed successfully. So now let's first just if this is successful, we're gonna change this following state, and we're gonna negate it. If it is true, we're gonna make it false. If it is false, we're gonna make it true. So let's just save, and when I send this, now this button become unfollow, and now when I click it again, it's gonna be follow. But the problem is we also need to increment this count by 1, right? And when we unfollow, we should decrement it. So there is a really cool trick, or a simple trick that we can do. So first we're gonna say if we are already following, which means that now we are gonna unfollow, so we'll just say use so what we can do, so let's just first show a toast. So we'll say success, and we unfollow this user, and then also we'll say user dot followers dot pop. So we're just simulating here that we are unfollowing this user, and this is going to it's going to decrement it's going to decrement the followers length by 1. And then in the else case, which means that we're going to follow, and we're just going to say show the toast and then also push the ID of the current user. So let me just say this is to simulate adding to the followers. Okay, this will only update in the client side. And here we'll just say also simulate removing from followers. And now let's just save and you're gonna understand what I mean. So let's just refresh. Now we are not following this user. When I follow, this number should increment because we are pushing into this followers array. So I'll just send this. As we can see, now that we followed the Jando and followers incremented, and now we're gonna just decrement it. And I want to add one more state, which is gonna be updating. So now when I click to this, I don't know if you are sending the request or not. I just wait for a second. And it's same for unfollow. So here I'll just come and I'll say const. Oops, I cannot type const. So updating and set updating. And initially it's gonna be false. So here, and also let's just check for if there is not current user. So if you are not logged in, we're gonna show a toast and return out of this function. And then here we'll just say set updating to be true. And finally excuse me, so it means either we success or fail. We're gonna just say set updating to false. And then inside this button where we have it, so when we say follow, so here we'll just say is loading is gonna be this updating. So it's gonna be either true or false. Now I'm gonna save this and now let's try. When I just click to that, you're gonna see that we're gonna have a spinner. So now it's disabled and you can't click at that moment. And when I click to that again, it's gonna have that loading state. And okay, perfect. Now let's just add this same functionality in the update page. So I'll go to my own profile, and then here when I go to update profile, so now just check when I do, let's say biotest 4, and when I submit this, we're not gonna have loading state here, and I just want to add this. And also what we should do, if updating, okay, if we are updating and we are at that moment trying to click that button again, we'll just return out of this function. And let's just add this logic into our update profile. So here I'm gonna have a state const updating and set updating. Initially it's gonna be false, and then when we handle submit, inside handle submit, we're gonna say if updating, we're gonna just return out of this function. And in the else case, so we're gonna set updating to true, and finally either we success or fail, we're gonna say set updating to be false. And then this button that says submit, so we're gonna say is loading, gonna be updating. So now let's try. I'll say biotest 5. When I click to this, it's gonna have that loading spinner. Okay, perfect. So we completed the follow and unfollow functionality in this part. I'll see you in the next one.